Welcome to the Slut Next Door podcast, where we dive deep into desire, unravel kinks and fetishes, and explore the deliciously naughty side of self-discovery. I'm Beatrix Vale, an erotic audio creator, and your guide to all things kinky and curious. So let's begin. Hello and welcome to my podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that might change the way you experience my audios or any other erotic hypnosis audios. But erotic hypnosis isn't just about pressing play. It is about creating a ritual, a mindset, a space where you can truly let go and fall into me. So if I were hypnotizing you in person, right there in your bedroom, we would not just jump right in. We'd probably set the mood, talk about what you wanted, and then prepare your body and mind. And I believe the same should be true when you listen to my files at home. So, in this episode, I'm going to share my best advice for setting yourself up for success with erotic hypnosis. And along the way, I'm going to tell you some of the beautiful little rituals my fans use before they drop into trance. Things like slipping into a thong and an eye mask, or lighting a candle and wrapping themselves in a soft blanket. So consider this your guide to turning listening into something more routine, into something even sacred, sensual, and intentional. Now, before I jump into the nitty gritty of this episode, I started a new little ritual myself on my podcast where I talk about what's currently making me feel like a goddess. Because I do admit I live a very unique life doing the work that I do. And I often daily feel like a goddess. And this feels super important sharing with you guys. So I was hesitant to share this with you because it's personal and a little makes me feel a little vulnerable, but that kind of steered me in the direction of pushing myself to share this because I was feeling that way. So this needs a little background to it. I was recently tuning into someone leading a group, and they were telling a story, and this phrase that they used, while it didn't immediately make me judge them, it did make me pause and think, wow, that's like a really ballsy thing to share with a group of strangers. But she was talking about her history, and she said, and everything I touch turns to gold. And I was just like, wow, that's respect. I remember that's just like, I was like, wow, that's pretty incredible. And it's just kind of rippled for me since then and really has gotten me thinking. I heard this a few weeks ago, and it's just been sitting with me that long. And so I've been reflecting on what that means. Why did that statement really hit me? Why did it make me pause? Why am I thinking about it? And so I went inward and I thought about my life. And I thought, wait a minute, I think I feel the same way. I just don't actively admit it. I've never admitted it. I've never even thought about it. But I thought about all the big things that I've done in the history of my life. And I thought, you know what? I have succeeded in everything I've done. It's never been easy, of course, but I'll give you some examples. In school, as a child, school was very easy for me. I'm a learner. I love to learn. I loved school, and it was never difficult for me. I can actually think of one class that wasn't, and that was economics. Uh, I don't know, numbers. Like while I was still good at math, if you give me, if a teacher gives me a way to solve a problem and, explains the whole building blocks of it, I can get that. But like economics as a whole, oh, it was difficult for me. But anyway, um, yeah, so school was very easy for me. If I set myself out to learn something, I always learn it. Like I always master it. And so I was thinking about that, and I was a very good athlete growing up, very successful in that. Every job I've held, I have been the ideal worker. I've definitely mastered every job I've done. And then I have the work that I do now, erotic audios. And I would say I am succeeding at that. So, I'm thinking, wait a minute, everything I touch does turn to gold. And it's just a vibe that I'm trying to situate on top of my shoulders because I am a very humble person. And I'm really trying to figure out how I can, I guess, accept and mm, hold that vibe. You could probably hear the discomfort in my voice because it's definitely not a natural feeling for me to not be humble. Being humble is my default. And I'm always, when things make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, I tend to lean towards them or try to figure them out at least. So, yeah, that's making me feel like a goddess, thinking that everything I touch turns to gold. And that is some goddess energy right there. The other thing that's making me feel like a goddess currently is I was just logging into my loyal fans account, and I promote interaction on there. And, people can like a post, they can comment on a post. The comments and the reactions to the posts I make me feel like a fucking goddess, just such that that is the stuff that keeps me going. It gives me life force, makes me feel like a goddess to feel the love and to witness the weakness that I bring to my boys on there absolutely makes me feel like a goddess. So, with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this podcast about why rituals matter in erotic hypnosis. So, I think that it's the difference between casually pressing play and truly opening yourself to trance. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, if I were to perform erotic hypnosis in person, I was thinking we would not just dive right in. I wouldn't walk into your home and say, okay, let's go. I'm going to hypnotize you. We would talk first. We would set an intention. We definitely would create a mood. And the reason for all these things is not just for the sake of being formal, it's about preparing the mind and the body so that hypnosis can actually take hold. So when you're at home and you're listening to an erotic hypnosis file, you don't have me or another artist sitting across from you, but you still can create that same kind of ritual. So the simple act of preparing, whether that be dimming the lights, slipping into something sensual, or just taking a moment to breathe, is going to tell your mind that what you're about to do is important and what you're about to do is intentional. And the more intentional you are, the deeper you will go. So I had polled my fans a few weeks ago and asked them, what do they do to prepare for trance? And one of my fans put it so beautifully. He told me that he always goes for a walk before listening to trance files because it helps clear his thoughts. So by the time he gets home and puts on his blindfold and presses play, his mind is already open. And then another listener of mine likes to put on an arousal file first so that he can empty his head and then build that delicious focus before the main trance file. So, again, these are just like signals to the subconscious. They transform listening from something casual into something sacred. So, when you ask yourself, if you're someone that doesn't do some kind of ritual before listening to erotic hypnosis, I know you may be thinking, why should I bother with a ritual? And I would say that the answer is pretty simple because it prepares you to receive and it allows hypnosis to work more deeply, more fully, and more pleasurable. So, when you're listening to one of my trance files, your environment will shape your experience more than you might realize. If your space is messy, if the lighting is too harsh, or if your bed feels uncomfortable, that's all going to distract your mind from fully surrendering to that file. So, I want you to think about preparing your space the way you'd prepare it if I were really there with you. So, would you invite me into a cluttered bedroom? Or would you straighten the sheets, fluff your pillows, dim the lights, and set the mood? So, you should start, even if you're just pressing play on a file, by clearing away any distractions. Make your bed, put your phone on silent, close the curtains. Just a little bit of order in your space goes a really long way towards creating order in your mind. And then set the mood. So light a candle or light some incense if you enjoy scent. It really can help anchor you in the moment and make trance feel like a ritual rather than just a habit. So some of my fans love this part. One of them told me that before every session, they spread out a big, soft blanket, light a candle, and let the glow become part of the atmosphere. Another one of my fans slips into a thong, takes off his shirt and glasses, and then puts on an eye mask, and then lies back in his bed. So it's almost like preparing his body like an offering before my voice even begins. So you don't need to do anything elaborate, but little details matter, and especially details that matter to you. Like even something as simple as dimming the lights or curling up inside a blanket that you prefer can tell your body it's time to let go now. Because the truth is, setting up your environment isn't just about comfort. It it can signal to yourself that this is a sacred space and that this is the time you've chosen to surrender, to listen, and like to let me in. Now, the next suggestion I have for trance is knowing that your body is a vessel for trance. So if your body is restless, tense, or uncomfortable, your mind won't be able to fully surrender. It shouldn't. And that's why tending to your body before you press play is just as important as preparing your environment. So you can think of it kind of like foreplay for hypnosis in a way. And some ideas for this is like a hot shower to wash away the day, shaving if that makes you feel fresh, stretching your muscles, rolling your shoulders, just moving the tension out of your body so you can melt into stillness whenever my voice takes over. Now, several of my fans shared how important this step is for them. One had said that he always showers and shaves first. It's like part of clearing his head and making himself feel ready. Kind of like, I think it's beautiful, like a ritual of purification before trance. Now, another said that he allows himself to listen when he feels well enough to avoid distractions. He won't even start if his body is aching or his energy is scattered because he knows trance is better when he's fully present. And he's totally right. If you're too exhausted, it's tempting to just put on a file and drift to sleep. And while falling asleep to my voice, like in a hypnosis file, is not the worst thing in the world, it isn't the same as experiencing the trance fully awake. So treat your kind kindly before you begin an erotic hypnosis file. Shower, stretch, drink some water or hot tea, wrap yourself in something soft. Every act of care is just going to make you more available to me, more able to relax and to focus and surrender, which are the things that I know you want to do if you're pressing play on my file. Because it really is, I believe this to be true. When your body feels ready, your mind is going to follow. Now, my next suggestion for preparing yourself for trance is knowing that your mind is just as important as your body when it comes to trance. So, if you're carrying the day's stress, replaying conversations during the day, or caught in emotional loops, you're going to find it harder to fully surrender. And that's why part of preparing for erotic hypnosis is quieting the mind. Think of it as clearing a stage kind of before a big performance. You make room for me to take center stage. Now, I know that part of hypnosis includes an induction, which is, preparing your mind, but you are also responsible a bit before you press play. Now, let me give you some suggestions here. And definitely pulling from some of my fans that gave me the feedback. So, for some of you, journaling works beautifully. So, just writing down the clutter of your day, your stress, your to do list, those things can stop them from echoing in your head once the file begins. Now, others prefer movement. Like I mentioned earlier, one of my fans likes to go for a walk. And then he gets home, showers, slips on that blindfold. So by the time he presses play, his mind feels clear and receptive. Music can also help. So setting a mood with sound before my voice even enters makes trance or can make trance feel more intentional. Even just a couple or few minutes of your own meditation before you begin an erotic hypnosis file could work wonders in just helping to quiet your mind. Now, if you're just tired, just super tired, yeah, you can drift to sleep listening to me. And that can be very common for some people. However, it is definitely not the same as experiencing the trance consciously. Like, I have some men that love the idea of falling asleep to my files because they love the idea that their subconscious sleeping mind is soaking up my suggestions and they don't even know it. I find that very hot too. But if you want to be awake and aware under my voice, you need to give yourself the gift of being just a little more present before you begin. So clear your mind however you can and however works for you. Writing in a journal, walking, stretching, just simple breathing. Do what it takes to give me this space in your thoughts, because once you do, you'll notice how much easier it is to let go when I start speaking. Now, even with the perfect environment, a calm body, a quiet mind, trance can be broken in an instant if your space isn't protected. So, nothing can pull you out of surrender faster than a buzzing phone, a knock at the door, whatever it could be. So, that's why I want you to treat your trance time as sacred. Put your phone on do not disturb, mute notifications, let the world wait for you just this once. I mean, this is your ritual, your space, your surrender, and there's nothing wrong at all at giving yourself a moment in the length of your day to take care of yourself with trance. So, some of my suggestions are headphones are a must, especially over the ear headphones, because it can create like a cocoon of sound and really make my voice feel like it literally is inside your head. Earbuds can work too, but full immersion of headphones can be very powerful. Some of my fans even take it further. Like I've mentioned already before, some told me they use a blindfold or an eye mask during trance. And this one fan that uses a blindfold, he said, the blissful, buzzing trance needs complete stillness. And I love that. He's so right. The quieter and more protected your space is, the easier it is to fall into that buzzing, blissful state where nothing else exists except my voice. So, before you press play on a file, just take that moment to silence your phone, put on your headphones, slip into the dark. Create a space where no one can touch you except me and my words. Now, the final piece of preparing for trance is setting your intention. Intention is like pointing your compass. It gives you direction to your experience. But I want you to remember it's not about control. It's about opening yourself to possibility. So, what do I mean by this? Before you press play, ask yourself, what are you doing this for? Are you doing it to feel closer to me? Are you craving release? Maybe even a hands free orgasm? Are you simply ready to just relax and surrender and let my voice take you wherever I want to lead you? The possibilities are endless. Why are you listening? What do you want to achieve? And any intention is perfect. What matters is that you acknowledge it, breathe into it, and then let go. Now, if you grip too tightly to an intention, say if you force yourself to chase orgasm or expect a certain outcome, you're more likely to block the very experience you want. So when it comes to setting intention, just surrender to it. Like give that intention life, but also give it space, because if you put too much intention, like the whole time you're going to be thinking, oh no, am I doing this right? Am I going to do it? Set the intention, let it go, surrender to it, and give it space. Let me take up that space in your mind. Let my words echo there. I'm going to give suggestions in my trance. And so they need that room to weave themselves into your thoughts. You don't have to push it. You don't even have to try. You only have to listen. And when you set intention this way, focused yet surrendered, you'll find that trance opens wider, deeper, and way more effortlessly. So, trance is not just about pressing play. It is about ritual. It's about creating a space, a body, a mind, and an intention that all point in the same direction, which is surrender. So prepare your environment, care for your body, quiet your mind, protect your space, and then set your intention. Hold it gently, and then let me do the rest. When you treat listening as a ritual, you will notice how much deeper the hypnosis goes and how much easier it is to let my voice slip inside and guide you where I want you to go. So I want you to try it for yourself. The next time you listen to one of my files, create a ritual. Make your space sacred. Make your listening intentional. And then tell me about it. Share your ritual with me. I will love to know. Definitely comment on this podcast episode if there are beginners in trance that are looking for ideas on how to create their own ritual. And the most important thing is make it your own, because we're all unique. What works for you might not work for the next person. Figure out what works for you. But thank you for tuning into this episode, and I want you to remember, the more care you take in preparing, the deeper I can take you. And the deeper I take you, I'm just going to say the harder it is to come back the same. And that's a wrap for this episode of The Slut Next Door, where we dive deep into the raw, unapologetic truths of human desire. If you loved what you heard today, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a juicy moment. Want to connect with me outside the podcast? Click the link in my bio, where you can find lots of juicy content and options. Until next time, I'm Beatrix Vale, your Slut Next Door, and I'll see you in the next episode.